there were plenty of red flags that I completely ignored before my wife and I got married at the time. I was very young, she was very young, so we didn't really have a lot of experience with relationships. We didn't really know who we were as people. I, at the time, thought I noticed these red flags, but because she's supposed to be the one, she's supposed to be my soulmate, we'll work it out and we'll figure it out together. I made a video about this, of the red flags that I noticed from her very early on in the relationship, how I felt manipulated by them, how I was not really sold from the very start that she would be the perfect person for me. I'll link that up above. But I figured in this video, because I talked about her red flags, I'll go over some of the red flags that I had that I've been working on. I tried to resolve them, but had she noticed these from me, maybe she wouldn't have wanted to go through with the marriage. Maybe she would have thought twice about marrying a guy like me, because at the time, I was not really a man. I was very young, didn't know how to lead, didn't know how to be a man. So yeah, maybe if she would have recognized some of these red flags, she could have improved. I noticed with my clients as well that they have some of these red flags that once they start to work on and resolve, they can start to attract either high quality women into their life or just become a better man for their current partner. So in this video, I just want to go over a few of the red flags that I'd been showing very early on in the relationship. It's something that I've been working on. I think one of the biggest red flags that I displayed was that I could never be vulnerable with my ex. There was a few times that I felt like I was, but because maybe I felt I'd be judged or she would use that against me, I never really went much further with it. But I remember very early on, because she was the first girl that I thought truly loved me, that we were going to be together, I thought I had to keep up appearances. Like, I would never tell her how much I thought I was a loser in high school, how I used to drink and smoke weed every day because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be part of some group. I could never tell her that the reason that I still would drink now is because I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to hang out with people unless I was drinking, and that was the only way I could be social. And I think if she actually looked at it, she would be able to tell this stuff. I mean, I was the quiet kid. I remember her mom telling her when we first got together that she didn't like me because I was so quiet. So she had an idea. I was not very quiet around her because I was comfortable with her. But in social situations, around her family, around anybody I worked with in the military, like, there was always this anxiety, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I couldn't ever admit that to her. So I was always putting on a front. I was always pretending to be somebody I wasn't. And I recently listened to Alex Hormozy talking about if you're not able to be vulnerable with your partner, they can't truly ever love you because they don't know who you even are 100%. Like, you're still hiding things from them. And this was something that I've been working on a lot. I think I've resolved a lot of this current red flag, or it's not really an issue now so much, because I've been sharing this stuff on YouTube. I've been open with the girls that I'm seeing about this because I'm not really embarrassed about it anymore. I'm not worried about their judgment of me because I'm not worried about, I think the reason that I had these red flags early on with her was that I was terrified that I would lose her love or that she would just leave and then I'm back to nothing, no girlfriend. So I was doing almost anything I could to make sure she was happy, make sure I didn't say anything that would make her think less of me. Like, I couldn't tell her, yeah, I didn't really have a lot of friends in high school and girls didn't really like me. I didn't want to tell her that before her, I'd slept with maybe, I think it was like 5 girls, but it was like a one night stand kind of thing. It was very drunk, no real connection or anything. Like, I didn't want to tell her that I was so inexperienced. So I would lie about the number of girls I slept with. I would lie that I was kind of cool in high school. It was always just a way to just make her think I was this incredible guy, even though, I mean, these are the things that I went through. Just because I went through these things Doesn't mean I couldn't improve myself. Doesn't mean that I'm not a good person. Doesn't mean that she wouldn't still love me. But in my mind, I did not want to lose this one girl. I was gonna do whatever it took, and that meant not being vulnerable. There was a couple times where I probably was a little bit vulnerable, and then I didn't, because I'm also a nice guy, I probably didn't get the result or the reaction I felt I deserved. So I probably didn't divulge as much as I could have. So yeah, very early. So the first red flag was definitely avoiding any vulnerability. And the way that I've been fixing this, because I do notice it's a red flag, I do notice that if I am going to connect with somebody and we're gonna have a meaningful relationship, that I do need to let people know where I'm coming from, things that I've gone through. By telling them things that I've gone through and what's shaped me to be the person I am, it gives them the opportunity to really tell what kind of person I am, to really love the man that I am, not just the person that I'm portraying. And this is something I've consciously been working on for the last 7 years. There's probably even more that I could do, which is why I'm making these videos, to help you guys, to help myself, just to find ways to constantly improve. Which leads to, I guess, red flag number 2. I had no desirability, no drive, no purpose. I didn't have any desire to improve myself. As a man, you're born with no value. You make your own value by, working on yourself, working on your goals, improving your body, improving your mind, improving your finances. And I have to imagine very early on, she noticed that I was not very driven. I did not work very hard on anything. Everything I did was just to barely get by. I was not trying to succeed in any way, didn't want to excel. I was doing pretty well with the military, but then I would come home and I would eat garbage food. I would play video games. I remember she even told me, when I first got into World of Warcraft, it became a big issue because that's all I did with my free time was I played this video game. She kind of took a back seat to it because I guess we were already married, so I didn't really have to win her love anymore. I just kind of stopped trying as much. So if she would have noticed these red flags early, I don't know if it would have swayed her decision from getting married either, but these are just red flags to notice if maybe this is something you're doing as well. But even before we got married, I would play video games a lot. That was basically my free time. I didn't really have any side projects or anything. I would go to work, I would come home, and then we would spend the day together or the night. I didn't really have any friends that I was going out with because she didn't really have anybody else to hang out with, so I figured I would just spend my time with her rather than making her feel abandoned if I went out without her. But very early on, I wasn't working on myself. Instead of going to PT on Fridays, every day I could have done it. I was in the military. I should be taking care of myself. But instead, I would skip that, which I'm surprised I never got in trouble for, I guess. But I would skip PT so that I could come home early so that she, I guess, didn't feel left out, didn't feel like I was going to be gone all day, because at the time she wasn't working. So I wanted to rush home, and then I was just bored immediately because we weren't doing anything. So I would play video games, no drive, no purpose, nothing. So yeah, definitely a red flag early on that I was not looking to improve myself. I was not looking for ways to just become more of a man. I feel, it was just like I was just settling. And I have to imagine now that she's older too, and she's seen the red flags that I've gone through, that it's probably something that she wouldn't want to put up with. Or maybe if she recognized it now in her partner, she wouldn't want to be with that person. But yeah, very early on, I did not try to improve. And a lot of it was because I had a lot of limiting beliefs about it. I just assumed I was who I was. People would always tell me, hey, you're the quiet kid. You were not sought out in high school or, after school. Like girls didn't approach me. Girls didn't want to be with me, but it was because of the things I was doing. I was not being social. I was not being fun. I was not giving them good emotions. I was not being that kind of person. So now, 7 years later, I feel like I've been working on that a lot. My main focus is trying to find ways to continue to improve, to build myself up. Also, since I've been divorced, I just realized how important it is, and that it is actually possible for me to just start taking small steps every day to improve myself. You're not who you are just because someone tells you are. Just because I was shy and quiet and no girls wanted me in high school, that doesn't mean I can't take steps to improve myself now. Work on my social skills, work on my style, work on my communication, work on just the way I present myself to the world, work on my mindsets. These are all things that I've been working on now, so that I'm hoping this isn't a red flag for the girls that I'm with, now or in the future. I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job on that. I would say that the girls that I've been seeing in the past would agree that I am the kind of guy that they want to be with. It's not a immediate, they don't have to worry about me not wanting to be better. I'm always trying to do stuff, whether it's, meditating, checklists, working out, finding ways to improve a business. Like I'm trying to find ways to improve. Whereas before, I didn't think I could do it, so I never tried to do it. So that's another red flag that I had very early on. I feel like I've been working on that, so maybe that's not so much an issue now. The third red flag that I had was that I was not a good communicator. I could not express my feelings to her. I could not stand up to her. I was always, if I was angry, I would not express my anger at all. I would just stonewall, they say, where I'm just waiting for this conversation to get done. I don't want to express my emotions because I guess I grew up, or in my mind, I'm thinking, if I express anger, if I express frustration, then you will leave. I will lose love, and I don't want to lose love. So it's just better for me to not say anything, not express my thoughts or my anger, and just hope it goes away. So a lot of times when I would get angry, I wouldn't leave the house. I wouldn't just like yell or take off because I didn't want to push her away like that. But I wouldn't stand up for myself. I would just stop talking. I would just, yep, nothing's wrong. Yep, sure, that's fine. And I would just hope it would go away after a few days, or, maybe eventually she'll just apologize. She'll know why I was angry. I'm gonna go this way. It's kind of windy. So yeah, I would just wait for her to either apologize to me, or maybe I would apologize, but not really address what was actually the problem. It was, because I was never taught communication skills and I never practiced. She was the first girl that I consistently dated, so I didn't have any experience talking through emotions with somebody. I didn't have any experience being able to really express myself. I didn't express myself to my parents. When I was in high school, they would have me arrested for smoking weed, or, they wanted to help me out as much as they could, but I didn't at the time know. I just thought they were against me. Like I knew what I was doing. Yeah, I'm smoking weed, but everybody does it. It's not a big deal. I know I'm failing school, but I know what I need to do to just get by. So I would just shut down. I wasn't expressing any emotions. I was just numbing myself, just getting high every day because I didn't know how to cope with anything. I figured if I just smoke weed, I don't have to be social. Like the kid who smokes weed. That's cool, right? So that didn't help me out in my marriage at all. I didn't learn any of this communication until after the divorce. Then when I started to listen to Red Pill and started improving myself, realizing that I can express my thoughts, my feelings. And a lot of this comes to another red flag of mine, was that I didn't choose my ex out of abundance. I chose her out of scarcity. Hey, puppy. No, you want to, cute. So guys, having chosen my wife out of scarcity rather than abundance, I wasn't able to express myself. I didn't express my vulnerabilities. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to work on myself, because if I'd done these things, I felt like I would have lost her. And because I was in that scarcity, I could not learn to lead. I could not learn to, express myself. I couldn't learn to really push back on anything. I didn't set any boundaries. I think this was a huge red flag. The way that I proposed to her was that I found out I was supposed to go to Korea, and I didn't want to break up with her because of the scarcity. And I don't know if she felt this or not, but as soon as I found out, I just proposed to her in the car at a Wendy's parking lot. Like, it was not anything. It sounds so bad. I mean, I can't believe she married me after this. That's crazy, right? But yeah, I met, proposed her in the parking lot, just like, hey, let's get married then, because I don't want to break up with you. And we want to stay together. If we get married, then I can stay in the States instead of going. So that just showed that I didn't have any scarcity. To me, looking back on it, it really shows that maybe you weren't even the right fit for me, or that I didn't love you as much as I could have before we got married. It was very much just a knee-jerk reaction of, hey, I have to go. I don't want to. You're the only girl that I'm ever gonna get, basically. Let's just get married. And I think because she was also in certain circumstances, she probably agreed to it. I mentioned before, we were both very young, so me getting married was beneficial to both of us. I got to stay in the States. I was able to get her out of her parents' house, get her to, move in with me rather than be in her parents' house. And then I helped with getting her jobs, and it was very beneficial. But I think if she would have really stopped to consider the way that I proposed, she probably would have realized that this was just based out of scarcity. This wasn't, we're getting married definitely we're just because we love each other so much. I have to imagine if she thought about it, she would have realized that, yep, this is what's happening. Maybe she did. There was a lot of benefits to us getting married. It helped her get out of her parents' house, helped her get through school, get out of Missouri. So it's not like it was all bad, but it definitely was a red flag, in my opinion, that I didn't have any sort of abundance. I didn't have any sort of boundaries, didn't have any pushback. I just went with the flow, always wanted to be the good guy, which is another red flag. The fifth one, I guess, would be that I was a nice guy, and that I would always use covert contracts for things because I didn't know how to express myself, and I didn't want to push those people away. So I was always the nice guy, would do everything for somebody, even if I didn't want to. There's a lot of times where we would go to our parents' house and I didn't want to, but because I didn't want to push back, I didn't want to make anybody upset, I would go anyways, and then I'd just sit there miserable, not really talking to anybody, and who wants to hang out with that guy? You're just sitting there kind of like a quiet asshole. And I wasn't just quiet because I was quiet. I didn't want to be there, and I didn't want to really participate with anything, but because I agreed to go, I would just go. And I would go because I didn't want, obviously, like I said, I didn't want to lose love. I didn't want to push her away. Didn't want her to leave. And I would do these for covert contracts. If I do this, then I expect you to cuddle me on the couch, or we would have sex that night. And I would never express what I actually wanted. It was always just, I'm assuming you know my needs, what I need, what I want. So yeah, definitely a red flag with the nice guy behavior. These are all things that looking back on, it all stemmed from my insecurities and from me not ever actually improving myself. The reason that I feel like I don't have these red flags now, 7 years later, is because I realized the value that I have. I know the kind of women that I want to be with now. I'm not worried about being alone or by myself. I always thought, if I don't have a girlfriend, that makes me a loser. If I don't have a good-looking girlfriend, then people are gonna assume that I'm not that cool. And now that I've been single, I've gone through all this stuff, I'm actually improving myself for myself. I'm not doing it for somebody else. I'm able to attract higher quality women. I have more abundance. I'm choosing people out of what I want out of my life, not what, I'm just settling for. Had I never realized that I am capable of improvement, I probably would still be that same guy. So those are some of the red flags that I've had. I don't feel like I still have those now because I have been working on myself. I am able to be vulnerable with the women that I'm with my family, with you guys on this channel. I'm not ashamed of where I've been or what I've become, or like the person I am now. All these things made me who I am. I'm always looking to improve myself, so I don't have that red flag of never wanting to be better. So I'm trying to do things that'll improve my value to myself, to my partners, to my family, to my friends, to my business. I know now that it is in my power to become better. So by not choosing to be better, I'm making a choice. I'm making the choice to not do that. So I've consciously made choices that I'm going to find ways to improve. I don't want to be full of red flags to a woman. Like I definitely was at 22. I do still have some red flags now. Maybe I'll make a video about that tomorrow. Some of the things that I do recognize are still red flags that I still do need to improve on if I'm going to have the most successful relationships. But these red flags that I've been talking about, I don't feel like they're as much of an issue. I wanted to share them though, just because I know for me, I didn't probably recognize them at the time. After years of improvement and being out of this relationship, I definitely recognize them now. So I thought it'd be helpful if I pointed them out for you guys. Maybe it's stuff that you've noticed in your relationships. It's maybe something that you didn't notice, but now you can think and reflect. Like maybe I did choose my wife out of scarcity. Maybe she wasn't the right person. Maybe I'm not being as vulnerable with her as I want. Maybe I am the nice guy who's using covert contracts. Those are just a lot of the things that I was doing. I want to help you guys out with that. Yeah, I think that's all for this video. If you are going through this stuff, just know that there are steps that you can take. If you're currently married, what are some ways that you can start to express yourself? Can you start, maybe you're in the same situation where you don't want to maybe make her upset or maybe lose love. But if you do want a better relationship, you have to be able to express your needs. You have to be able to lead as a man. You have to be able to know that you can improve because it's good for yourself. It's good for your relationship. It's good for your partner. But yeah, if you're not aware of this stuff, you can't really improve it. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I definitely was not aware of these things. I was just getting by. I just settled. I thought I had made it because, hey, we're married now. I can come home and play video games. I don't really have to improve myself in any way. Yeah, this is just the way it is. And I could see why. She probably wasn't very happy. I wasn't very happy. We didn't do the best we could to make our relationship better. And I don't regret any of that. It's given me the life that I have now, which is fantastic. But at the same time, like, it sucks to have a marriage that doesn't work. It's if I had been a better person, maybe the relationship would have grown. Yeah, these are just things that I was never taught, didn't know. So hopefully that helps you guys. I'm gonna go home now. I'll edit this video. It's Sunday night, so I think I'll call it early. I'm back from Mexico. It's much colder here, if you can't tell by the fact that I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt in the middle of May. Mexico is great. It's good to be back though too, getting some work done, being able to focus a lot more. Plan for this week is I have to actually let somebody go. We hired somebody that's not working out, so I got to have uncomfortable conversations, which I guess kind of relates to other things, but is another red flag. I could not have uncomfortable conversations. I didn't, never expressed any, couldn't ever actually like speak my mind, especially like family issues that came up. I would never tell anybody what was going on. I would just ignore it and hope that things would either go away, or in the case of like breaking up with somebody, I would just text them or just try to find ways to distance myself instead of just being upfront with what's happening. Why am I feeling the way that I feel? This is something that I would say is probably still a red flag for me, is that I do have trouble having hard conversations. It's something that, I mean, it's probably never easy to do. I don't want to have to call this person and tell them that they're not working out and that they're fired, but it has to be done. It'll relieve the stress of me, like off my mind of having to think of this anymore. So yeah, it's something that, definitely something I'm working on. Let me know in the comments any red flags that you noticed about yourself, or maybe that you've been working on. I think it's always great to just learn from other people, because you can't experience it all yourself, but if I can get some ideas of red flags that you've had, what you've worked on, it'll help me in the future as well, because I don't want to bring this stuff into future relationships. I still got enough problems. I'm not perfect. I know I can be moody. I know that I can shut down still. I do have that tendency to just distance myself. I do have that tendency of still doing things that I probably don't necessarily want to do, but I want to make people still like me. I still need validation. So I'm still working on all that stuff too. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, red flags you've noticed about yourself. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Gonna go enjoy the rest of my evening. You guys have a great Monday if you're watching this Monday. We'll see you later.